Kingia, content inashika. We move fast to change lanes. Ndio kesho iko soft life, leo tunaingia grind mode. But no matter the mood, bank tunahitaji nenye na switch na sisi. Enye iko already where we are and ready when we are. In our pockets, on our time, na speed yetu. One built not just to keep up, but to move with you in every mode. So, uko mode gani? Download the new KCB mobile app and switch on your mode today.
At the heart of Kenya's transport infrastructure is the Mechanical and Transport Directorate, MTD, under the Ministry of Roads and Transport. We oversee a network of services spread across 24 strategic regions, ensuring efficiency in plant and transport services nationwide, from road construction and maintenance to the provision of specialized equipment to manufacturing services. We support infrastructural development across the country. We carry out inspection and valuation of government vehicles, plant and equipment in view of pre-delivery, repair and maintenance and disposal. We also inspect second-hand imported motor vehicles for roadworthiness as per KEBS KS 1515 and conduct occupational tests for drivers and operators. For more information, visit mtd.go.ke or call 0718-976-445. The Mechanical and Transport Directorate, Quality Mechanical and Plant Services.
The stage is set, the teams are ready, and your voice could be the difference. Come wave your flag, sing your song, and back your favorite team as they battle for glory in the Total Energies CAF African Nations Championship 2024, right here on home soil.
Well, good evening and thank you very much for joining us. The building industry in Kenya is a major contributor to the country's socio-economic development. And when you look at the contribution of this critical sector to the country's annual GDP, you're talking about a contribution of almost 6%. Now, that is huge. But apparently, this industry has also been beset by major challenges, from non-adherence to laid out procedures and, of course, failure to comply with regulations. And that's why we've been having challenges with the structural integrity of our buildings. And in 2015, at the height of collapsing buildings, the government set up the National Building Inspectorate to help bring sanity into this industry. The institution was re-established back in 2023, and joining us on the set tonight is the Secretary in charge of NBI, or National Building Inspectorate, Architect Lawrence Gitau. He's going to help us and guide us through this conversation, make us understand what is the role of NBI in the building, in the built environment, and of course what they are doing with other stakeholders to ensure that sanity prevails in this industry. Architect, thank you very much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you and good evening.
Help us understand, when you look at the building industry in Kenya, I mean, it has multiple players, from the National Construction Authority to the Engineers Board, the Borax Board of Registration of Architects and Quantity Surveyors. You also have private players. So where do you come in as NBI?
Yeah, thank you very much. NBI is a directorate in the State Department for Public Works, and our main focus beyond what is known for public works is the management of public buildings. Our core role is we manage and we ensure safety and resilience of buildings across board, not just in public buildings, but also in the buildings you and I put out there for the private citizens. So National Building Inspectorate has a function of the public works, that is the main government, to ensure that all the players, as you've said, we have many players, from the professionals who design, to the contractors who build, and to the developers and the approving bodies. And of course, all these people are regulated, but as we'll discuss, there are a good number of those people who are not regulated. And there are also issues with regulations that we need to discuss moving forward, have a very candid discussion, and see how we ensure safety and zero collapse of buildings in this country.
From planning to execution, and of course with the completion of a project, where do you come in that value chain?
We essentially, when National Building Inspectorate was formed, we were to come in at post-construction. But you know, you cannot assure quality after the building has been put up. And as I said, all these players need to be coordinated. You have engineers, you have architects working on their own, you have the approving bodies, and you have the National Construction Authority. We come in from the start to ensure that all of them are coordinated. And we've rethought our mission, and would want our mission to go beyond inspection and auditing of buildings to ensuring that whatever is put up, whatever is designed, fits purpose, to ensure that the building approving authorities, that is the county governments, departments, have the necessary capacity to undertake their mandate and their function of building control. Yes.
When the idea of setting up NBI, was mooted back in 2015, it was meant to cure which problem?
NBI was meant to cure a problem of collapse of buildings. That is the uncoordinated buildings. Public Works for long had been managing public buildings. But when buildings collapsed, we had to ask ourselves, who in government, who in the State Department, which State Department is responsible for regulation, which State Department is responsible for policy in the built environment, which State Department is responsible for coordinating county governments and ensuring, and especially that area of built environment. And this is what informed the formation of the National Building Inspectorate at the State Department for Public Works to undertake that function that had somehow been left hanging. And this, of course, was in line with what is happening in other countries, where we have a building inspectorate, or we have a building and construction authority that undertakes and accredits the players in this field. Yes.
And when the idea was formed then, or the idea was noble then, from where you see it, do you still believe it is noble today?
The idea was noble then, and we managed to inspect quite a number of buildings at the start. We also demolished quite a number. I think we've audited over 20,000 buildings. 20,000
buildings?
Yeah.
And how many buildings do we have in this country?
We do not have that number.
We don't have.
By the way, one of the functions and mandates of National Building Inspectorate is to profile these buildings and have that number. And when we are able to reach there, I could authoritatively tell you we have this number of buildings.
But there are millions.
There are many buildings. They could be over a million. They could be over a million.
And you have only audited 20,000?
In the last 5 years, we audited.
In the last 5 years?
Yes. But you see, when we are doing audit, we've moved from now auditing. There's a time we're auditing areas. If you have an area that the power line, areas in the riparian reserve, there you clear everything. But we've moved to an area where we have to use the resources that we have well. So we risk profile what we are auditing. So we have a risk profile as per the building code, depending on the classification, that is the use and the risk in those buildings. So the high risks are the ones we would want to concentrate on. Yes.
And when you talk about the high risk back then, which were areas considered to be high risk?
Then the high risk areas were the unplanned areas. The areas in this country where we have no approvals, where we have no involvement of built environment professionals. And mostly these are the areas with no titles, untitled areas. In most of these cities, in Nairobi, we have the Eastlands area. We have areas that are prone to flooding, areas in riparian reserves. These are the areas that we concentrated on. But as I said, moving forward, the function of the National Building Inspectorate should move now to accrediting the people who will ensure that from the start, that is from the design to the approvals and to construction, these buildings meet the purpose, they are fit for purpose. Yeah, essentially buildings should be built to fit purpose. Yes.
So then if that was to happen, then what will become the role of the National Construction Authority? What will become the role of Engineers Board of Kenya? What will become the role of Borax?
Each of these regulators, starting, say, with the ones that accredit and regulate planners who are in charge, that is the first phase because they subdivide the land. We have the Borax who regulate the architects and conservators, EBK who are regulating the engineers, and the National Construction Authority, which is regulating the construction industry. That is the contractors and the people working in the construction industry. All of them have their role. But beyond that, this need to ask, is the service, are the buildings that are being put up with all those authorities that have been there in existence? Borax has been there quite early, EBK so also, NCA came the other day, the planners are also there. The question is, with these regulators, have we been able to achieve a safe built environment? And the answer is no. And, you know, the problem that we have is that we have architects who are designing, we have engineers who are designing and regulated, we have contractors who are regulated, but there are two key players in this industry, the built industry, who are not regulated. One is the developer. So the developer can decide to do away with the architect, the developer can decide to do away with the engineer, and the developer can decide to buy his or her own materials, hire a few helps, and build a structure. Then earlier on,
the developer here is not the contractor.
No.
That is the owner
of the money, the owner of the resources. Yeah. So the developer.
So who should regulate the owner of the money? Or the owner of the project?
The owner of the money should be regulated.
By who?
By the National Building Inspectorate, and there's somebody else, the person who approves.
How would you regulate the owner of a project? The project is mine, I own the money.
We need to put in place measures to ensure that the owner is regulated. And one of them is to ensure that all building projects have mandatory insurance cover. So you insure your projects, and not just insure the works. Right now, in formal projects being done by government, we have some insurance covers, but those insurance cover only cover during the construction phase. Other countries out there have moved to insurance where you insure your building, not just for those years, but 10 plus years. You see, now we're being called by people who bought property 5-10 years ago. The developer has sold the property, has moved on. But the property has started to develop cracks, and the foundation has started to fail. So one way to catch the developer and to ensure they are regulated is to ensure that they have an insurance, a mandatory insurance for projects. And when they have mandatory insurance, then they also insist that also the professionals also have insurance. So if there are issues, if you're buying a property and it has issues, you're able to go to the developer. And if the developer has no money, the insurance company pays you and then claims from the party who is responsible. That is the insured professional or engineer or architect or anybody else. And the same for the approving authorities. O'Brien, we are paying fees when you go for building permit. But after you pay fees and the county department approves, they make the architect and the engineer sign an indemnity. They indemnify the county. So they've approved, but the approval does not mean anything. So the person who is still responsible is the architect, the engineer, the developer, and the contractor. We need to move to a point where if we are giving service as a county government department, we also take certain responsibilities so that the approval is not just a stamp, it means something. It means we've checked the drawings. It means we can assure the public that the building is safe.
But how can counties do that? They don't even have professionals. They don't have the services of quantity surveyors, of engineers. I mean, it's only a handful, maybe Nairobi, Mombasa, Kiambu, Kisumu.
Yeah, true. Counties are seriously suffering from human resource. And unfortunately, we don't see it getting better. You know, the reports we received from the Auditor General is that they are spending more than 70% on recurrent budget. So there's no money to employ more engineers and more architects. But the question is, if you look at some reports that are there this year, say on Nairobi, 22% of their revenue is from building approval fees. So how do you pick building approval fees, put them in other areas, and you do not employ the persons who are offering that service? So the thinking that you have with the National Building Inspectorate and the State Department for Public Works is that if the counties are unable to offer this service, first, we believe, and this is a discussion we'll be having with the Council of Governors, is that the county departments that are doing building approval should be accredited. Accreditation means the officers working there need to be trained, they need to pass an exam so that they can be qualified inspectors. And if they're unable to do it, this country has a rich pool of professionals, architects, engineers, construction managers, who can offer this service to the counties.
Sorry for stepping on your shoes, but help us understand. For you, for anyone to approve a building or drawings of a building, what should be their core competence?
Building approvals are in several stages. One, there's someone who should be a planner. The first person who should check is a planner.
An urban planner.
An urban planner. And the urban planner should check some very simple basics.
And for you to become an urban planner,
yes,
you must go to school.
You must go to school. You must be registered as an urban planner. Yeah, so that is a profession that is regulated.
So you must have a degree in urban planning.
Correct.
Very good.
Yeah, so then they check basics, that is the zoning guidelines, the heights.
So do we have them at the county level?
They are there, and in fact, the director planning is an urban planner, or should be an urban planner.
So every county?
County, at least every county has an urban planner. But this is a memo that I saw from their PS. I think we still have counties where projects and subdivisions are being approved by people who are not urban planners, or who are not...
Who is the other person involved?
The other person are architects.
Architects?
Yes, the architect will check the building, the space sizes.
And you have to go to school for you to become an architect.
You need to go to school for 6 years, work under another architect for 2 years, get registered and get your license.
How many counties have services of an architect?
There are very few. Most probably less than half. And the ones that have, including our city here, they just employed a few the other day. And due to that budget constraint, they employed them at entry level. So if you have an architect straight from school and you want him to review a project in Kimani, 14, 15, 22 floors, or in Parklands, they're still really equipped. But most of the counties have no architects. They have planners, because the director planning, as per the law, that is PLUPA, must be a planner. Then we have engineers.
Engineers?
Yes, they also need to go to school, have a degree, and be registered. Yeah, 5-year degree in engineering. And there are several disciplines in engineering. You have the civil engineers, you have the mechanical, the electrical, and the other service engineers. And then, of course, after that, there is the quant surveyor. But you see...
That is also another profession.
It's another profession. You know, when you start to build, you need to employ, to engage the services of a quant surveyor. Don't build before you know what will be the cost of your project.
And so, from where you stand, and from the conversation we are having with the county government, is that you can train people who do not go to the university to learn these core competencies and take them to school. Would they embrace those core competencies that are needed without going through the prerequisite educational training?
It's possible, but it used to happen. There are countries that do it, but they do not train architects, they do not train engineers these days on apprenticeship. It used to happen. But if you were in Germany, the contractors undergo a training as master builders in Germany and in Austria. Here we have recognition for prior learning, but you only recognize skills. You cannot train an architect in a drawing office today, or an engineer, and be qualified, because this person must be registered. The requirement for registration by ABK, or by Borax, or by the Planners Board, is that you should have met the minimum qualification, that is a degree, and the relevant number of years of apprenticeship or working in an office to earn your experience.
Very well.
Yeah.
Well, in case you're joining us, you're watching Inside Government, and of course we are live from Broadcasting House. We are discussing how to enhance building safety and of course enforce regulations within this critical industry. We are talking to architect Lawrence Agitau. He's the secretary of the NBI, National Building Inspectorate. We are taking our first break. We are coming back with more conversations still here.
We're not one thing, we're many. We move fast to change lanes, but no matter the mood, bank tunahitaji nenye na switch na sisi. Enye iko already where we are and ready when we are. In our pockets, on our time, na speed yetu. One built not just to keep up, but to move with you in every mode. So, uko mode gani? Download the new KCB mobile app and switch on your mode today.
During this 2024 Chan moment, every glass of milk tells a story of care, quality, and goodness from the farm to your table. At the Kenya Dairy Board, we ensure that every drop you drink is fresh, safe, and wholesome from licensed dairy business operators you can trust. Milk is nature's pure gift, packed with calcium for strong bones, protein for growth, and vitamins to keep you healthy and active. Always look for dairy products permitted by the Kenya Dairy Board, KDB, your guarantee for safe and quality milk and dairy products. From our children to our adults, from breakfast to bedtime, the goodness of milk powers every moment. The Kenya Dairy Board, world-class dairy regulator committed to quality, safety, and national pride.
Lives.
There is something that drives us to become the people we are, the people we care most about. Thanks to Madison Better Life Medical Cover, your family can now have access to the best care 24/7. Go ahead, take on the world with Madison Better Life Medical Cover today. Call us today on 0709 922 666. Madison Group, life without worry.
My name is Bertram Mudoka. I'm the CEO, Agricultural Society of Kenya, overseeing the running of over 16 shows in the country. As we enjoy the Chan Games on KBC Channel 1, I'm certain we've all been excited. It's very exciting moments, then by the wins of our team.
Na baada ya Chan, tutaenda wapi?
Tutaenda kwa maonyesho ya kilimo, ASK shows.
Na tutaanzia wapi?
Tutaanza Mombasa, pale Mkomani Showground.
Asante sana.
Ndio.
Shukran.
Alafu tukiendelea hapo,
Mombasa,
tutaelekea Nyeri, pale Kabirini Showground.
alafu
Tukitoka pale, tutaelekea Kaparanet, pale Baringo.
tena
Tukitoka hapo, tutaendelea mpaka Lichota Showground, pale Migori.
mwisho ama bado?
Bado mwisho. Sasa tunaendelea ile kubwa ambao ni Nairobi International Trade Fair, pale Jamhuri Park, Nairobi. Lots of technologies, lots of innovations for learning purposes. We're closing with the Kitale National Show. Again, running in from the 8th to 11th of October, the home of dairy, the home of beef. Asanteni sana, karibuni sana nyote kwa Chan, kwa ASK shows.
The National Youth Service, NYS, is proud to announce its 89th Passing Out Parade at the NYS Paramilitary Academy in Gilgil, Nakuru County. The occasion will be graced by His Excellency, President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. As NYS continues its mission to transform, train, and empower the youth of Kenya, this parade marks another milestone in our journey towards realizing our vision of being a center of excellence. This ceremony will be live on KBC Channel 1 from 9 a.m. on Thursday, 28th August 2025. NYS, Huduma kwa Taifa.
You're watching Inside Government. Our conversation today is how to enhance efficiency as well as enforce regulations in the building industry. And we are talking to the Secretary in charge of the National Building Inspectorate, Architect Lawrence Gitau. Sometimes this year, was it in the month of April, you led a team of government agencies in the demolition of an 11-story building in Mombasa. Tell us something about that. How was that done?
On April, at the start of April, on 2nd of April, an 11-story structure in Mombasa, Kilifi Corner, just near the hospital, Coast General Hospital, sank 3 meters. That means the foundation failed and the whole building came down 3 meters. That is, what was on first floor sat on ground floor.
The whole of first floor?
Yeah, and then it tilted. On the side, there was a building that were just linked, and the others behind it, there was a building, and across there was some other building. The only way we had to demolish that building was in one area, and that's the area where it was leaning. So we sought the assistance of the Ministry of Defense, that is the KDF, through the National Disaster Center, and we did explosions. So it was controlled demolition, the first ever controlled demolitions in this country using explosives. That exercise was an eye-opener on what can go wrong. During that exercise, we had to cordon off an area of a 1.2 kilometer radius around that building. We had 3 cordons, that is the inner cordon.
Including the hospital? We
had to relocate everyone in the hospital. We had 15 patients in ICU. Because of the sound.
They had to be moved?
They had to be moved to other hospitals. You know, luckily, the governor of Mombasa had good connections with the private hospitals, and they were able to be accommodated in the private hospitals there. We also had to evacuate everybody else there for more than a day. You can imagine the economic loss that was in Mombasa for that day.
Area.
And not just that. You know, 3, 4, 5 days, it took 10 days to plan that explosion because you had to take care of all risks. You know, Mombasa Island is a field. If you do something wrong, we would have brought down all the buildings in the old city, all in the whole of Mombasa. So we had to take 10 days to plan and execute the process. During that time, the whole of the security agencies in Mombasa and in the region, Kwale, Kilifi, were at that site. So there are things that we don't know because we had brought all the police, all the other security agents. We don't know what was happening on matters in security in the other areas. And you see, if you look, that was an 11-story building near a hospital. We relocate. O'Brien, what I would want us as Kenyans and as government, and especially the building approving authorities, is you bring that case of Mombasa to Upper Hill, Nairobi. If this was to happen in Upper Hill, Nairobi, and we have to do demolish, if you have a building beyond 10 floors, you can't demolish it with an excavator, with a sandy, the one that we know. You have to do controlled demolition. The sound from controlled demolition, you have to evacuate people 1.2 kilometers. Now, see a scenario where you're evacuating people from Kenyatta, a scenario where you're evacuating people from the hospitals nearby, where you're evacuating State House. So, I mean, some actions, simple actions. Or
maybe even in CBD.
Even CBD, you know, assume it's the Upper Hills, 1.2 kilometers on air is quite some distance. So part of CBD. So you see the inconveniences, you see the economic loss, just because an agency that is mandated to do approvals, an architect who has an obligation to design, an engineer who should design, somebody who should have checked the design, a contractor who registered the project and should have been on site, has decided not to do his job. You know,
was anybody ever prosecuted?
We gave our report, the task force report, to the governor of Mombasa. He's initiated some changes, but I'm not sure whether prosecutions have happened. But he also recommended to the regulators, say the architect, the engineer, and the contractor, so that action could be taken.
And you also did a fact-finding report whereby you audited all the technical professionals in Mombasa County. What did you find out?
We found out that in Mombasa, some system somewhere had closed off everybody from operating there. There were the projects, we audited quite a number of projects. First, we were auditing the projects that were done by the engineer and the architect who had designed the fateful building. But we looked through the whole system. There are 3 engineers, there are 3 architects.
3 engineers.
3 engineers who have
servicing the whole of Mombasa County.
The whole of Mombasa County.
Which is the second biggest city in Kenya.
Correct. And essentially, these engineers were not offering any service. They were just stamping. So there are many quacks, many people who are not competent to be engineers, to be architects, like the one who had designed the fateful building. You know, if you look at the issues that were in that fateful building, just some simple check, either by the approving authority, by the other regulators, would have shown that that building was designed to fail. So, but you see, when you have 3 architects, when you have 3 engineers supervising, designing 1,000 buildings in a year, you know,
it's overwhelming for them.
It's overwhelming. But there's also something else we found out. These architects have no offices. They are briefcase businessmen. One of them, 2 of them, an old architect, 92 years.
92 years?
92 years. So some young men are just using his credentials and stamping. An engineer, very old, also not doing anything. You know, when I interviewed them, the codes and the building standards they were saying are the ones of 1970s. But, you know, beyond now the effect, the economic effect of the collapse, you know, this loss of money for the developer, this loss of money for the people around him during that time. And, you know, there's also a risk in a building. You know, the risk is not just on the occupant, not on the developer alone, but also on anyone who is passing by. You know, we lost 1 life there, a gentleman who was just passing by before the building collapsed, and he just decided to go in and check on the apartments. And we were just lucky because it was just a few minutes after the mosque time. Had it happened when people were coming from a nearby mosque, the casualties would have been more. So the risks are many. But beyond that, I just want to bring something else. You know, you have 3 architects, 3 engineers controlling 1,000 projects and not setting up offices. And we have students in the university there, Mombasa University, Mombasa Technical University. Pwani University. We have students there studying architecture. We have students there studying engineering. You know, none of the architectural students, none of the students who graduated in the last 2 years is practicing in Mombasa because of the barriers of entry that have been put up by having just a small group of people offering unprofessional service, not employing the others, so killing the whole industry for themselves and for everybody else.
Is there anything being done to correct that anomaly?
Yes, we have policies in place. We have policies that we would want to create, and one of them is what I had alluded earlier, is that we need to accredit these building approving authorities, so that if they have no capacity, they should use the capacity that is available in the private sector. We have many architects, we have many engineers out here without work who can be able to offer this service. And as I said, they are collecting a fee. They should just use part of that fee, the counties, that is the county departments, should use that small fee, and with, say, a list of accredited inspectors, checkers, and approvers. These would have to be done by the national government, that is the State Department for Public Works. We would keep a register of qualified accredited inspectors whom the county can be able to hire to approve their buildings and to also inspect. Something else, on this building that collapsed, and on many other buildings in this city that have collapsed or that are unsafe, you know, our county departments have inspectors. They pass through those sites. But as I said, their passing is just to take forms. They have no mandate. The mandate is still on the engineer and the contractor and the developer. So we need to assure the public that whatever is being put up is safe. And this assurance must be done by someone who is not the designer, who is not the developer, and who is not the contractor. This third party is where the State Department for Public Works and essentially the National Building Inspectorate comes in to assure the public that the building control processes that are happening have quality and are able to deliver quality projects and projects that will be resilient and not collapse tomorrow.
When you look at NBI, I mean, and the mandate that you're expected to play, can you play that mandate effectively? Well, where you lack proper legal teeth? Is it high that time that we started talking about an NBI bill, which will create which will lead into an act, NBI Act with legal teeth to develop codes and as well as prosecute errant developers?
Yes, as you said, without having an act, we may not be very efficient. But NBI is part of the State Department for Public Works. Where there is no regulation, the government takes over. So we take over. But that said, currently this is the revision of the Construction Authority Act, and we are involved. And we would want now, instead of it being the National Construction Authority Act, it should be something else, maybe the Building Act, the Construction Act, where NBI and maybe the Kenya Building Research or something can come in and be recognized in law, so that we would be in a new regulation with our mandate clearly mandated by law. So it's in the works. We hope that in the coming few days, the draft will be out and it can go for public participation. Yes.
Excuse me. I was also looking at, the budgetary allocation for NBI, and in the current financial year, it is zero. So how do you execute your mandate with zero budget?
We've survived so far, but as you say,
you're surviving.
we are surviving. But we are in discussion with the Treasury. We are in discussion with the members of Parliament. We've met PAC, Public Accounts Committee. We've also met the committee that is in charge of our sector, and we voiced these concerns. We have a national mandate. Is the secretary?
Why were you not given any budget? Is it that the allocation agencies do not see the point, or they don't understand the role of NBI?
Maybe they don't know what we do. Maybe they don't understand. But we are now telling them we have a role, a very serious role, to secure people's investment, to ensure that the built environment is safe, and to ensure that all those other investments, there's no industry that will not have a building. So we are asking investors to come. For the investors to come, they must know that you have an industry where if they put up the investment in buildings, they will be safe. So we are hoping that with this discussion, we'll be able to get some funding to move around the country. Right now, with a zero budget and there's a collapse, say, in Kisumu or in Mandera or someplace.
How do you respond?
I'm unable to respond.
So what would happen?
Would have to beg one of our partners to take us there. And of course, the counties also have their challenge. NBI has a challenge of funding. And as I told you, the department that should either assist us, that is the department that has the mandate of development control, they are also very ill-funded at the counties. There are some of the departments with the most lean budget. Because you see, they should be able to call us, and they are able to fund our travels and the allowances for the officers. But as we speak, as we've started this year, this quarter, we are at zero, but we're optimistic that when the supplementary budget comes, someone will hear our cry.
So you're banking on hope?
Yes, we have to be hopeful.
And of course, we say in business that hope is a very bad strategy.
But as I've said, we are talking, we are telling, we're talking Treasury.
We are talking that is happening.
Yes, we are discussing.
I also want to hear things. I mean, you are an institution that, you have what we call a skeleton workforce. Most of your members, are borrowed from the line ministry. What are you doing to ensure that you also develop your own staff program with clear structures and programs?
It used to be so in last year, but in the last 1 year, we have secured, PSC has given us staff. We now have a staff of about 15. We have a few more that will be interviewed in the coming days, 10. And our staff establishment has been approved. So in the...
What is the optimum number?
We are at 150.
150?
150 staff.
And you are 13 now?
We are about 15.
We are
getting 10.
So that is 10%.
Yeah, 10%. But beyond that, how we would want to look at ourselves is that we would want to leverage on the skills out there. We understand that the government has budget constraints, but we would want to create employment. There are people out there. There are people in Kwale, there are people in Kilifi, there are people in Kisumu, architects, whom we can accredit. And using our system, they perform our services. So we don't want to be too big, but of course we want to be in the counties. We want to have regional offices, because in the counties we have the multi-sectoral teams where we must inspect and we must regulate everybody else who is working on our behalf.
You're also domiciled at the Works Building?
Yes, we are at Hill Plaza, just next to Work Building, opposite Milimani Law Courts. We are on first floor.
You're on first floor?
Yeah, that is.
And that space, of course, is small for an agency like you.
Yes, of course. But public works.
Are you planning to grow your wings and fly?
Of course, yes. I mean, we must fly. We must be everywhere. We must go to the counties. That is where the work is. And even here in the regions, the State Department for Public Works has offices, not just in Nairobi, not just at the center at Milimani. We have an office. We have spaces in industrial area. The State Department has offices that we are leasing out to other agencies, including IEBC and others. So there's space that we can occupy. But first, of course, we need to hire competent staff, come and train them so that they understand what you're doing, and then send them out there to bring the change that we want. Yes.
And when you look at NBI in the next 5 years, what do you expect to see?
In the next 5 years, I want us to be a regulator, an accreditor of everyone who is in the built environment. That is an institution that has grown, that has brought sanity to this industry. And as I said, the first role that we want to do is accredit the building approval authorities, accredit the people who are offering testing services. You know, we do testing. But in this country, you can get a test from anywhere, so long as it's stamped. They are not accredited. We are working with KENAS. We're also working with other stakeholders, say the mortgage companies, the insurance companies that I mentioned earlier. We would want to play a pivotal role where if you want a mortgage, you go to a bank, and the bank will ask you, has the building that you want to purchase, is the building that you're putting up, has it been inspected by a person accredited by the National Building Inspectorate? If you want also to build or to buy a building and you need an insurance premium, then the insurance company will ask you, has the building been inspected by the National Building Inspectorate? You know, and then another bigger role. You saw the other day during the game with Morocco at Kasarani. You know, we had to close off that area. You know what is the problem? The design had a problem. We did the design of the facility. We did not anticipate that at some point we would have to do crowd control of 100,000 people or 1 million people who want to get into a stadium. So our role also as the lead agency in the multi-sectoral agency committee, which will be gazetted soon, would want to inspect some of these high traffic, high public areas, stadiums, malls, as a team, leading the multi-sectoral team, as a committee or a commission, especially those ones, so that we assure the public just before they get the occupation permit, so that whatever else that needs to be done to ensure safety in future is done.
I want to hear this from you, Architect Gitau, you know, as we come to the conclusion of this interview. Is the building industry in Kenya too broken to be fixed?
No, it's not too broken. Other countries have been in places worse than us.
Like who?
We've had, is it Peru, Haiti? We've seen cities that have been brought down by earthquakes. Even in Europe, countries have been undergoing reform, including in the UK. If you look at those countries, continuously they are undergoing reform so that they ensure that there is sanity. So our beauty industry is not that broken because we have enough built environment professionals. We just need to work on the regulation to ensure that there's work for them, to ensure that, as I said, the contractors, the developers, and the building control authorities are regulated too, so that everybody has something to do. If you look at the cranes in Upper Hill, the cranes in Parklands, the cranes in ECD, and you go there and ask, is there an architect, is there an engineer there? You'll find no engineer, you'll find no architect. But if we regulate, people will go and work there. We'll have a safer environment. Our people will have the skill. We will have bigger offices where students from universities can be trained and learn skills. But as we speak, we are still in a bad place, in a very bad place.
Very good. What else do we need to know from you, Gitau?
What I need to tell the public is that we have enough built environment professionals in this country. Consult them, the architects, the engineers, and when you want to purchase that property, when you want to insure that property, if you are a banker, if you're an insurance company, ensure that it's been inspected. You have by a third party, who is government, that is the National Building Inspectorate, the State Department for Public Works, so that you are assured that the investment that you're putting up will stand the test of time. Because often the other people, the developers, maybe even the professionals, they have maybe a high-risk profile, and you need assurance of that party that what you're putting up will be safe and will not come down. So see us, you can visit us at Hill Plaza, here opposite Bilimani Law Courts on first floor. As I said, we have a number of inspectors who can come and visit your site and assure you that your investment is safe. And as I said, in the coming days, we will be working with the other agencies to see that we accredit inspectors across the country so that we are able to have a safe built environment, and you can be assured that the person inspecting your project is competent, is qualified, and is not a quack.
Very good. Architect Gitau, I must admit that the assignment ahead is tough, but we hope that you and your team, you're up to the assignment.
Yes, we are.
Your time is highly appreciated, Architect, for joining us tonight, and of course, for giving us those critical insights into the role and the responsibility of the National Building Inspectorate.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Asante sana.
Thank you.
Architect Lawrence Gitau is the Secretary, National Building Inspectorate, joining us tonight to help us understand what's the Inspectorate doing to bring sanity into the built environment in Kenya. Remember, it's a critical component in Kenya's socio-economic development. You have been watching Inside Government. Remember, the Prime Edition is coming up next. And of course, more importantly, Chan Iko KBC. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Thank you for your time. See you on Wednesday next week. Good night.
Magharibi mwa Kenya. Maisha ya familia moja maskini yanaelea kwenye ukingo wa taabu.
Umetoa wapi hizi pesa?
Dadi, umeiba.
Mwizi! Wewe ndio mwizi, unaiba mbuzi wangu.
Baba ni mlevi, ameitelekeza familia yake na inayumba.
Leo mimi sijaelewa na bado una raha.
Andrew, adui mkubwa wa familia hii, anaichukia.
Nini mnapigania?
Shamba. Toka mbele yangu wewe.
Pata pesa zetu bwana.
Hauogopi Mungu, hauogopi shetani.
Congratulations Jema. Nyamaza, wanga kusema daktari anadanganya.
Kwa Josh, kilichosalia ni mzigo mkubwa zaidi kielimu kama atafaulu kujiunga na chuo na kimaisha. Je, atatoboa?
We're not one thing, we are many. Hustlers morning, dreamers are lunch. By 3 p.m. tushakuwa meme lords. Ndo giza ikiingia, content inashika. We move fast tukichange lanes. Ndio kesho ikuwe soft life, leo tunaingia grind mode. But no matter the mood, bank tunahitaji nenye na switch na sisi. Enye iko already where we are and ready when we are. In our pockets, on our time, na speed yetu. One built not just to keep up, but to move with you in every mode. So, uko mode gani? Download the new KCB mobile app and switch on your mode today.
Si niliwaambia? Halo? Niletee kama kawaida.
Kama sio kavagara, wacha kiumane.
Nisikia wapi sherehe bila kavagara?
Wanaoijua wanaijua. Eti kavagara ya ugali na chapo zinaongoza sokoni. Kama hujakula ugali ya kavagara, usiseme umekula ugali. Chapo yapendeza.
Hii chapati ni tamu sana.
Omera, sherehe bila kavagara sio sherehe.
Dukani usitishe unga, itisha kavagara.
Mimi. Twende? Boss, uko sawa?
Niko sawa, ni vile niko na calls mingi. It's a busy day, you know.
Kazi lazima ichape.
By the way, nice background.
Faster speeds, better experiences. Over 50 million Kenyans. One network. Safaricom. Popote ulipo.
Mkulima, usiteseke tena. Make your farming simple by adopting the new Magna irrigation system from Elgon, Kenya.
Nini kinakufanyikia mguu?
Mimi nimechoka na hii ukulima. Wacha nikafanya biashara nyingine. Mimi uchoka kila saa nikinyunyuzia hii mimea maji, lakini hainawiri.
Wewe ndio haujajua siri ya urembo.